Welcome to Special Education in Online Learning. This is Maria Therese Zapanta Versosa. Good morning po, Dr. Ayuyao, Dr. Dizon, Sir Mangalus, and of course to my great mentor and thesis advisor, Dr. Olga Tulabot. It is my honor to be presenting to you my thesis proposal in my alma mater using education technology, the power of global education. Have you ever wondered why there are students who can adapt flexibly to changes in routine, but there are others who simply cannot do the same, to the point that some are even sent to the principal's office or even counseled by school psychologists? For so long, most of us and the educational society have assumed that every child who goes to school is equipped with instinctive social skills. My thesis proposal is entitled Effect of Social Behavior Mapping Intervention on Unexpected Behaviors of a 14-year-old Boy with Autism. We hope to highlight what goes beneath cognitive inflexibility and how we can support these children undergoing this learning disability. The participant in this study has been diagnosed with PDD-NOS at the age of 3. PDD-NOS stands for Pervasive Developmental Disorder Not Otherwise Specified, a subcategory of Autism Spectrum Disorders, or ASD. According to DSM-5, or the 5th edition of Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, ASD has 4 hallmarks. 1. The onset is the first 3 years of life. 2. Impairment in speech. 3. Impairment in social skills. And the last, behavioral rigidity or resistance to change, or what we call cognitive inflexibility, which in this study we are going to measure as unexpected behaviors. Why is problem solving and changes in routine difficult for some kids? It is because there is a problem in the executive function of their brain. Yes, children with ASD are born with a different neurology that makes social cognitive communication difficult for them. Over the years, leading experts in behavioral sciences have come up with different learning theories to help children with ASD. One of them is social cognitive theory. It has underpinnings of behavior theory, cognitive theory, and the influence of environment or the social learning theory. Michelle Garcia Winner, the speech therapist who would later found and create the social thinking curriculum, says this about behavior. What influences behavior? It is changing one way of thinking. Winner further elaborates the 5 key components of what makes social cognition: central coherence, theory of mind, sensory integration, emotion regulation, and executive function. What are executive functions of the brain? There are 6: impulse control, working memory, organization, planning, self-control, and flexibility. For the purpose of this study, we are going to focus on cognitive flexibility. Social thinking introduces us to a paradigm shift. We need to teach children first to become efficient social thinkers before we can expect them to produce better social skills. Yes, not just the social skills. We first have to implement a program that will support the thinking first before the doing. This leads us to social behavior mapping, one of the key strategies of social thinking. What is social behavior mapping? A social behavior map looks like this. It has a situation or the scenario. It has 2 frames, the expected and the unexpected, which is what we're going to measure in our study for today. The situation, let's say, is listening to the teacher talk, and for the purposes of this explanation, I will be the student. What will I write down here for expected behaviors when I listen to the teacher talk? I will write down my eyes would be looking towards the teacher, my hands would be on the materials, and I could be raising my hand if I have a question. That would be expected behaviors. Now, the second and the third column, they refer to the person other than me. So how would the person, the teacher, feel about me based on these behaviors? Well, the teacher will feel calm and pleased. And based on those feelings, how would she treat me? Well, she would have a calm voice and she will be happy teaching me. Now, based on this, how do I, as a student, feel? I would feel calm too, and I would feel so satisfied, and I would love to learn even more. This is the social boomerang. How do I feel based on how others feel? The same thing goes for unexpected behaviors. What is an unexpected behavior when we are listening to the teacher talk? Well, if I'm going to start kicking my feet and blurting out ideas that don't have any significance to the topic, then that's unexpected. So how will others feel about my behavior? My teacher might feel frustrated, and maybe even my classmates. And because they are frustrated, how will they treat me? Perhaps they would even ignore me, or maybe they will be staring at me and making fun of me. Now, how do I feel based on that behavior? Well, I would feel frustrated as well. These here, the fourth column, is where the social thinking is already taking place. In fact, we have already started social thinking right here, yet this is where the social skills will begin. And that is why there are so many social skills programs out there for children with ASD that somehow do not become effective yet. Why? Because this is the part where we need to teach the children to be competent in social thinking first so that they can come up with better social skills. Moving on to research questions, we have 5. 1. How may the frequency of unexpected behaviors be described before, during, and after withdrawal of intervention? 2. How may the duration of unexpected behaviors be described before, during, and after withdrawal of intervention? 3. How may the effect of social behavior mapping be described in terms of frequency of unexpected behaviors? 4. How may the effect of social behavior mapping be described in terms of duration of unexpected behaviors? And 5th, what implications can be derived from social behavior mapping as a possible intervention for verbal children with ASD? The significance of the study for the teacher, parent, and the student. For the teacher to understand that a child's academic success is partially rooted in social thinking. For the parent to provide a continuous social learning approach to the child across all settings. And for the student to see the gestalt, or the bigger picture of how his thoughts and behaviors affect those around him. For the scope, we are going to be using social behavior mapping intervention targeting unexpected behaviors of a part-time homeschooled 14-year-old boy with autism in a homeschool room for 4 hours per day from 1 o'clock to 5:30 in the afternoon with a break in between. It will be for total for 6 weeks. For the single subject design using ABA pattern experimental method, our independent variable will be social behavior mapping, and our dependent variable will be the unexpected behaviors. The limitations of this study include weather changes, possible influence of morning schedule, and parental involvement. For the definition of terms, in the interest of time, allow me to explain to you briefly what is expected behavior and what is unexpected behavior. Expected behavior is a behavior that most people would do following social rules, whether hidden or stated, that usually results in other people feeling comfortable around you, while unexpected behavior is exactly the opposite. In this study, unexpected behaviors would be, to name a few, fidgeting, ignoring, staring, turning his back when being spoken to, obsessively asking why he didn't get what he wanted, obsessively asking yesterday's schedule, repeatedly asking what's going to happen today, and repeatedly saying sorry. If you would like some more information, that will be on page 14 of the manuscript. In the review of related literature, we have discovered how scientists, psychologists, and specialists have actually tested cognitive flexibility of their patients. Some of the examples are the cont.d or the Cambridge Neuropsychological Battery, the Wisconsin Card Sorting Test, and Dell's Kaplan Executive Sorting Function Test. For our study, because I am not a psychologist and I would need a specialized expert to measure the cognitive flexibility if I were to use those, we opted to use the measurement of cognitive flexibility by measuring the frequency and duration of unexpected behaviors. So far, social thinking has been empirically studied in clinical and school settings and one in a community which involved young adults, but none for the home. Therefore, it is the intention of this study to discover the efficiency of social behavior mapping intervention on unexpected behaviors of a 14-year-old boy in the most natural setting, which is home. For our research design, we are using single subject ABA pattern experimental method for 6 weeks. Phase A consists of 2 weeks for which is the baseline phase, phase B, another 2 weeks which is the intervention phase, and last one which is the phase A again, which is the withdrawal of intervention phase. Any change in the last phase determines whether the intervention was effective or not. The participant in this study has been evaluated by Dr. Pamela Crook of Social Thinking, the one on the right. And the one on the left is Michelle Garcia Winner, the founder of Social Thinking herself. For gathering and measuring data, I used observation sheets to record frequency and duration of unexpected behaviors, also using the digital stopwatch timer of an iPhone. This is a brief extract of how we have implemented social behavior mapping during the intervention phase. So the subject is reading and the situation is reading a story. The task is to read a very short story between us alternating the parts. I had just finished reading the part and he was supposed to read next. Instead of doing that, he slumps on the floor, looks at me and grabs a toy. After repeatedly asking him to come over so he can complete the task, he completely ignores the instruction. That's when I press the love button to signify the start of the unexpected behavior. I then proceed to explore ideas with him what made those behaviors unexpected during reading time. And then he writes down as his unexpected behavior after exploring ideas. He says, looking away when studying as his unexpected behavior. I then ask him, if you're looking away during reading time, how would mom feel? And he says, well, mom would feel upset. And then I ask him, if mom would feel upset, how would she treat you? And he says, well, mom would ignore me. And then I asked him, like a social boomerang, if mom would ignore you, how would you feel? And he says, I would feel mad. And then I inquired, how does being mad help you learn? And he goes, so I asked him, how would you like to proceed? So he grabs the book and continues to read the story. I then press the love button one more time to signify the end of the duration of the unexpected behavior because he just exhibited the start of the completion of the task. Let us now proceed to the presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. I used visual analysis using line graphs and mean lines to analyze the data points, and here are the results. For the frequency of unexpected behaviors before, during, and after the withdrawal of intervention. During phase A1 of the study, the frequency of unexpected behaviors ranged from 4 to 8 occurrences in a day and averaged 5.7 occurrences per day over 2 weeks. During the intervention phase B of the study, the frequency of unexpected behaviors ranged from 3 to 7 occurrences in a day and averaged 4.92 occurrences per day over 2 weeks. After the withdrawal of the intervention or phase A2 of the study, the frequency of unexpected behaviors ranged from 4 to 8 occurrences in a day and averaged 5.6 occurrences per day over the last 2 weeks. As you can see, the mean lines show minimal reduction of unexpected behaviors in terms of frequency through all phases of the study. Moving on to the duration of unexpected behaviors, during phase A1 of this study, the duration of unexpected behaviors ranged from as short as 12 minutes and 17 seconds to as long as 19 minutes and 1 second per occurrence and averaged 16 minutes and 25 seconds per occurrence over 2 weeks. During the intervention or phase B of the study, the duration of unexpected behaviors ranged from as short as 5 minutes and 32 seconds to as long as 18 minutes and 12 seconds per occurrence and averaged 8 minutes and 58 seconds per occurrence over 2 weeks. After the withdrawal of the intervention or phase A2, the duration of unexpected behaviors ranged from as short as 12 minutes and 58 seconds to as long as 22 minutes and 44 seconds per occurrence and averaged 18 minutes and 20 seconds per occurrence over the last 2 weeks. Looking at the mean lines, we could see a marked reduction in terms of the duration of unexpected behaviors if you compare phase B to baseline and phase B to withdrawal phase. We could see the average frequency of unexpected behaviors for all three phases. And then we also could see the average duration of unexpected behaviors for all three phases. Again, for the frequency, we could see for all those numbers that have been rounded off, we could see that there is only a minimal reduction from 6 to 5 to 6. Now, however, for the duration, we could see that there is a marked decrease from 16 to 9 and then marked increase again to 18 on the last phase. We could state that social behavior mapping may be an effective tool in decreasing the duration of unexpected behaviors when utilized for 4 hours a day for 2 weeks in the home setting. Lastly, we may be able to conclude that social behavior mapping can be an effective intervention in helping children in the ASD who have cognitive inflexibility, thereby helping them to become more efficient in academic learning. We may also say that social behavior mapping intervention may have applicability in the homeschool setting. And for our recommendations, I recommend a longer observation time, maybe at least a minimum of a year, perhaps using A-B technique instead, with a larger purposive sampling, study to be done in the morning, and perhaps another observer for more accuracy of data measurements. I want to be a confidently successful person, an independent social thinker. The participant in this study lives by this vision. It is our hope that we can help him and the many other children like him fulfill that vision. Thank you.